What's up everybody? So in today's video, this is actually going to be a 6-month update owning the Nissan GT-R. That probably comes to a little bit of a surprise to a lot of you. Kind of shocked me as well. I did not realize it has been 6 months since I bought the GT-R. Time really has flown by. Time flies when you're having fun. This thing has been an absolute blast the last 6 months. So with the title of the video, obviously I have a bill to pay now with the car. I just got an email from Geico saying my policy is due. I pay every 6 months, so obviously it's been 6 months, time to renew my insurance for the car. So let's head upstairs and pay the bill so I can keep this thing out on the road. Then we'll hop in the car, take it out, and talk about what it's been like owning this thing for the last 6 months. So here we go, have the thing pulled up. Time to pay $881 to renew my insurance. So I do this every 6 months. It actually is a little bit cheaper than doing it month by month. Well, there you go. Insurance is paid. Easy as that. It is legal for another 6 months. Time to hop in the car. Alright, so now in the car, let's go over the video. I don't really know what I'm going to start with. I'm just going to start talking. So quick backstory on the car. I've obviously owned it now for 6 months. I actually signed the paperwork mid-January. I took delivery the 27th of January. And then the first video, I believe, went up February 13th. And for those of you who are new to the channel, almost 2 years ago at this point, I traded in my Hyundai Genesis Scoop for the red 2012 370Z. 6 months later, traded that in for the 2016 Nismo. Owned that car for a whole year and then traded that in for this car. And if you're interested in how in the world am I able to afford this car, that video will be linked in the description below. It really comes down to money management and learning how to use financing to your advantage, so check out that video in the description below. And then for costs associated with this car, I have a full one in the description below as well. But as far as costs do go with this, so far I really haven't had to spend much money on it. Obviously I have my pretty big monthly payments, around $800, and then normal gas and stuff, which you're going to pay for anyway. But as far as maintenance goes, I haven't done anything to the car. When I got it, I had an oil change and air filters done. That was about $150 total, and I did do a new battery, which was another $150. So day one with the car, I spent about $300 or $400 just getting it squared away, but that has been it. So to start the video off, I guess I'll talk about the driving I've done with it, how many miles I have on it, what mods I've done with it, and then basically future plans, and then we'll finish up with a mini Q&A. This morning I posted on Instagram saying ask a question about the GT-R. So real quick, some basic info on this vehicle. It is a 2014 Premium Edition. It has 27,719 miles on it right now, and I've driven it 3,095 miles. So 3,000 miles in the first 6 months, not too bad. It is my only car, but I do ride the R6 quite a bit. So as far as the driving that I've done with this, really just daily driving. I commute to work and back in it. I've gone on a few smaller trips with it, a lot of highway cruising, a little bit of city driving. The only real performance thing I've done is the YouTube call out doing the 8th mile drag strip. That was my first time on a drag strip in general. Had a lot of fun with the car. That weekend I did about 450 miles in the car. But I haven't done any type of mountain cruising or actual track events with it so far. I do plan on doing them eventually. It'd be great to get a whole group together and do some mountain driving with it, and then maybe hit the track a few times. But that's kind of it for the type of driving, just daily driving, grocery store shopping, stuff like that. It's just been used as my normal car. As far as modifications, I have videos on everything, of course, but I have the AAM cold air intake kit. They are the 2.75-inch kit. You can also get the 3-inch pipes. Those ones you would need a tune. I didn't want to do that yet, so I went with these smaller pipes. I also have their upper intercooler kit with the tile blow-off valves. They are the recirc valves though. And then for the exhaust, we got the Army Tricks exhaust system. I do not have the downpipes installed yet. When I do the downpipes, I will have to tune the car, but putting it in race mode, it really opens it up and sounds quite awesome as the driver. The microphones really don't pick it up. In all the videos that you saw with this before and after, it does not do the car justice. With the valves open, it sounds insane. It is a complete beast so far. I'm definitely loving what I've done to it. And then the only other mod, I had the Vossen wheels on this for a little while. I plan on putting them back on, although I would sell them if someone makes me an offer. So if anybody does want to buy them, send me a message on Instagram and I'll consider selling them. They have brand new tires and they're practically brand new wheels. So it'd be a great set for somebody to buy. But in the meantime, I'm going to put them back on the car just to use them since they have brand new tires. Now, as far as feature plans go for the car, what am I thinking about doing in the future? When I do the downpipes, of course, I'll have to tune the car. And I think from what I've read, you might as well do upgraded fuel injectors at that point. So I guess with injectors, downpipes, and a tune, I'll probably be in like the mid 600 horsepower at the wheel range. That's plenty fast. The car's already a ridiculous monster with the stock tune and everything. So I think that's probably about where I'm planning to go as far as like performance wise. Maybe a different set of wheels in the future whenever I end up burning through all my tires. I might change up the wheels too. Window tint will be happening this month most likely. And then possibly next year, probably wrap the car, do something a little bit crazy, and maybe do like a carbon fiber trunk or something. So not really the craziest list of mods to do to the car, but definitely some good things coming up later on. So next on the list, I guess we'll talk about my favorite things about the car and my least favorite things about the car. Favorite thing so far, it is so fast. Like, you really can't comprehend how quickly this thing accelerates. When you pin it, the turbos kick in and the car obviously just takes off like a rocket. Doing the drag strip racing and the launch control runs that I've done, it pins you back in your seat. You can feel the blood go to the back of your head, so it's just a complete monster to drive. I haven't really experienced the car on the twisty turns, so I can't really talk about what it's like in the handling department. I know the car handles well with the suspension mode. In the race setting, it's a very stiff ride. In the comfort setting, it's a very smooth and comfortable ride. So I like how the suspension setting gives you a drastic difference depending on what setting you have it in. I also like the fact that this is very practical. It really is a normal car. The back seats, you can actually fit full-grown adults in there. The trunk is pretty big, so grocery shopping, when I'm on trips with a lot of luggage in the back, it's really easy to use. It's no different in size than like a Mustang or an M4. As far as things I don't like, I think the only real thing that I don't like is how clunky the transmission is, especially in the slow speed. If you're kind of city driving where it's a lot slower first and second gear, the car will do abrupt downshift sometimes. When you hit the brakes, it might downshift, but then when you get back on the gas, it might be still in second gear and then be very boggy when you're starting. So the slow speed stuff, it's not really the best at. It's doable, obviously, but you do have to get used to it because sometimes it'll have a really jerky upshift or downshift. You'll hear the clunks in the transmission, the bell housing, the rear end, stuff like that. So when you're at the slower speeds, you hear a lot of those things a lot more than when you are cruising or doing any of the performance driving. So to actually talk about the ownership experience, this is my first, I guess you would consider this a supercar. It's a daily drivable supercar, I guess, in my opinion. So daily driving this car, what is it like to drive? It's kind of a normal car, it really is. It is nice that when you press a few buttons, you can turn this into a complete monster. When everything is in race mode, the traction control lets you have a lot of fun. Of course, with the Armatrix exhaust, having the valves open, the car is really loud sounding, but everything works together very nicely. The car is really flat in the turns. Well, no GT-R video would be complete without an acceleration, so we'll get on this road and accelerate as you do in a GT-R. So yeah, it's a fast car for sure. That's probably the biggest thing that you just don't really get used to. This car, it's fast. It's really, really fast, but it's so much fun when you floor it, just the thrust it gives you. Alright, so now we'll go over the Q&A portion. Since it's like 95 degrees out, we're going to do the Q&A portion inside of the car. We have 100 people saw the post that I did so far. So we'll go ahead and answer just a few questions. So first one we got, do you get many celebrity moments when people want to take a pic when you're out and about with the car? A little bit. Most of the time the car does actually fly under the radar. Most people don't even look at this as anything special. The car people, they look at it and want to take a picture, and a few times when I am like around the car at a grocery store or something, people will be like near the car looking at it. So I do notice a lot of people looking at the car, and a lot of people ask me questions about it when I'm at like a gas station or something. But it's not like it's a crazy Lamborghini. It's not everybody freaking out when they see it. It's just a small percentage of people, and it's only like the car enthusiasts. The normal people, they don't really notice the car, which I kind of like. Next one is, get the Supra or R32 GT-R. I probably wouldn't get an R32 GT-R. I'm not totally against getting an older one. An R34 would be amazing, but that's like nearly impossible to find. But it would be kind of cool maybe to get a 32 or a 33 one day. However, the new Supra is really on my radar. I really, really want to get one of those. How much for gas? Well, it's however much the gas price is at the current moment. I don't really look at gas prices, quite honestly, just because I'm gonna fill up the car no matter what, so it really doesn't matter. But I generally spend about $40 to fill up the car. But since I ride my bike quite a lot, I'm used to spending $8 every time I fill up the bike. So I only fill this car up maybe once a month, so it really doesn't really add up to that much. What year is this and how does it relate to the Z in any way? It's a 2014. It doesn't really relate to the Z that much. There's a few things that are definitely shared parts, like the window switches and lock buttons are straight from the Z. I think the dome light section looks the same, the mirror, the key fob, the overall layout, that the navigation and radio system and air conditioning controls, those are very similar to the Z. And then while the buttons look different on the steering wheel, you can tell that they're like the same buttons. And then the little screen in the center of the dash is the same one you get on the Z. Other than that, it's pretty much everything else is different. The car drives completely different in every single aspect, but you can still tell there's a few shared parts with it. And then the engine bay, they look pretty similar. Cost of ownership, that's a good question. Not really anything so far. Day one, the oil change, the battery, and the air filters, that was about $400 for all that stuff. Other than that, it's just been gasoline, just filling it up like normal. Insurance costs, like you saw in the beginning of the video, that's obviously a cost associated with it. But aside from that, it really hasn't cost anything special to own the car. It's kind of just been a normal car. And aside from brakes coming up, I don't see anything too expensive. Fluid flushes are going to be a couple $100. I know power steering and transmission are going to be coming up soon, but aside from that, it's not a car that you need to like pull the engine and do a complete rebuild every year or something like that. It really is just a normal car, and there's a lot of them out there with 80, 90, 100,000 miles on them. So regular maintenance on this car is slightly more expensive than a typical car, but it's really not that crazy compared to most cars. And then looks like last question, can Nicole parallel park better than you? Yes, she can. So that sums up the Q&A. Only had a few questions. I only posted that an hour ago, but I think we are about wrapping up the video. So 6-month update owning the GT-R. I guess my overall opinion, do I like daily driving this? Pretty much most of the time, yes, I do like daily driving it. It's a very comfortable car. I like how it's laid out. All the buttons and everything are really easy to use. It's a very simple car to use. The interior looks amazing in my opinion. I know some people say it's outdated and ugly, but of course that's just a personal opinion. I think it looks great in here. I love the red leather, everything about it. It feels very nice. It feels like my car. It feels like what I would want my car to be. I like how fast it is. I like how well it handles. I like how you can put a lot of stuff in it. It's very roomy. I like the fact that it really is almost like the perfect car. Obviously it's not the perfect car, but it can do everything, and everything it does very well. Like when we did the YouTube Call It event, I was really impressed how I could have all of our luggage in the trunk of this car. I did all the drag racing with all of our luggage still in the trunk. I beat pretty much every car that I went up against, and then could drive comfortably on the way home. So it's just a cool car that you can do so much with. The only gripes I have is just the transmission gets really clunky in the slow speeds, and it is annoying. I know I probably have said that way too many times, and it's not that I hate it or think I'd rather have another car than this. It's just something that you do have to deal with when owning this car. But aside from that, I think it's a phenomenal daily. It's awesome. I love the reactions that car people have when they see this car. A lot of younger kids, come up to the car loving it. And a lot of people do take the picture of the car when I am driving around, which is a little bit taking getting used to. I didn't really get that much attention in the Z, but this car does get a lot more attention. And so far, it's all been pretty positive. A few people try to race me. Unfortunately, it's pretty much always muscle cars, and not to hate on Mustangs, but every single time a modified Mustang passes me, they try to rev it up or race me or somehow. So it's a little bit annoying when some people try to race me, but for the most part, it's just thumbs up and waves and stuff like that. So it definitely gets a really good reaction when you're out in the roads. And overall, for a daily driver, kind of the ultimate daily driver, I like it a lot. As far as future plans, do I have anything to add to the garage? Sometime next year, I would like to get another car in addition to this. I am considering maybe a 350Z in the beginning of the year, or whenever the new Supra comes out. That is really, really hot on my radar. Depending on the pricing of that, I would love to have that next to the GT-R. I don't think its performance is great enough to where I'd want to trade this in for the new Supra. But if the Supra can work alongside this, that would be a really sweet garage next year. Well, I think that about wraps up the 6-month update owning the Nissan GT-R. This has been a complete beast of a vehicle to own. It's a blast to drive. It's comfortable. It can kind of just do every single thing you need it to do, and everything you need it to do, it'll do very well. So it's been a fantastic car to own, and I really appreciate all the support on YouTube. It seems like a lot of you really enjoy the videos with this car, so many more videos to come, of course, but I think that sums up today's video. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Give it a huge thumbs up, smash the subscribe button. Be sure to check out more of the videos in the description below for more insights onto the cost of ownership and stuff like that with this car. But that is it for today's video. We'll see you all next video.